Good morning, friends. This is Ryan with Center Yourself on this beautiful spring day. Mother Nature in Vermont likes to hit on our parade when it's springtime and remind us, I can still snow. It's fairly chilly, so I have a coat on. I'm letting the chickens out this morning. Good morning, girls. Come on out, bitches. Yeah. Yesterday we did quite a bit of stuff around the yard. We had to drain some drainage ditches because the ground is saturated here. It's really silty clay, so pockets of water pop up everywhere throughout the landscape. Good morning, girls. Good morning. One of our hens is very broody. There's no rooster, so she's not fertilized, but she thinks it's time to have babies. Fresh spring air, birds chirping, the sun is shining. Yeah, so yesterday we did a lot of projects, trying to get the ground around us to drain a little bit, and you can probably hear it. Squish, squish, squish. The ground is saturated. Not a problem for people that live in maybe the more arid conditions, like my cousin and Reeve's side of the family in Arizona. Definitely a problem for some areas here in Vermont. Yeah, I was going to come out here and do some gardening stuff, but right now there's too much snow going on, and I'm not about that life. It's one of the reasons I'd like to spend my winter months abroad, specifically a good chunk of it in Greece, which I fell in love with when Tyler and I had our first adventure. Definitely memorable, definitely a place I had always wanted to visit, definitely a place I fell in love with once I visited. Yeah, I guess today, in lieu of gardening, I'm going to discuss some relationship stuff. As a few of you probably have heard or saw my video, or maybe you have spoken to me directly, I had a very abusive relationship in my past, which has led me down a whole different rabbit hole of healing. And one of the things they don't tell you is how hard it is to heal and maintain a healthy new relationship after a really toxic one. And here are my babies coming out, my cats. Got Lilith and Malachi. There's Lilith and Mr. Malachi. They're my little garden buddies. They are often out here with us. If either of us are outside, they usually are with us. But again, just relearning healthy coping skills and unattaching from triggers, and basically trying to relearn how and what love is, and how to do it in a healthy, meaningful way. Yeah, it has definitely been a challenge. I think this is probably the most challenging thing I have ever done, aside from healing, perhaps. And as it's a part of healing, I kind of keep it in tandem. But I know, little girl, I know. Definitely trying at times. I definitely had a manic episode last night where I broke down because we've spent all winter basically with each other and had very little alone time, which doesn't really do much for the individual. And as a result, our personal, our interpersonal, our relationship has kind of suffered. Not like the end, but at times it kind of feels like it, because it feels very mimicky of some of the old patterns that I experienced during my abusive relationship. Not that Tyler's at all abusive, because he is not, but some of the getting set in a certain way, communication kind of goes by the wayside, especially if, we've spent every day with each other and there's not much to talk about. For me, that's kind of hard because I really crave communication and closeness and connection like that. And Tyler, at this point, needs some space to be himself. We both need space to be ourselves, but I'm just having a hard time with some of it. Because for me, it feels like we're not connecting the way I would like us to be, and that something's wrong because of it. And I have to keep getting reminded and remind myself that I'm not in the same situation I was, and that there are healthy ways to deal with this stuff. So lately I've been going out and gardening, and trying to keep my body active, and I meditate, using some of those coping skills that we discussed in the last video. Breathing, telling myself I'm safe, not just telling myself, like feeling and embodying the feeling of being safe, as I kind of regulate my emotions. He sent me a TikTok this morning about how springtime is I don't know if it was quite, the word wasn't quite triggering, but very often during the springtime, as the seasons change, often people that have emotional disorders, or been through trauma and stuff, have episodes as the seasons change as well. And like the last 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even a month or so, I've been highly emotional. I've been going through a lot of feelings, big feelings, and not 100% sure how to deal with them all the time. That's where therapy comes into play, and that's where coping skills come into play. That's where trying to find your happy place and doing things that you love to fill your own cup kind of come into play. I'm just so grateful that Tyler is there, and that he supports me in ways that I've never been supported before, emotionally. And when we have these disconnects, it definitely is helpful that he can stop and just take a moment with me and remind me that we are not in as bad a place as I'm perceiving it to be, because him and I haven't really stopped doing all of our things together. It's just we haven't had a lot of time alone. So when we're together at the house, at the end of the day, he wants to relax and I want to have conversation, and I want to, I crave connection. And it's just like we've been with each other all day. We just need a little bit of time for ourselves. So that's a part of it. Learning about myself again, learning healthy ways in a relationship to relate to each other, self-regulating, but also being able to communicate needs, and I mean communicate them, not just expect the partner to understand and meet those needs without communicating them, as well as setting boundaries, so that the other person understands, like, hey, this is the level that I'm needing from you. If we go beyond that, that's a problem. And it's usually, for me, where it's usually like boundaries are a behavior that's unacceptable, and what you're going to do if the behavior is continued, so that you can create a safe place for yourself and for your partner. Things I've been learning. Yeah. Thank you all, and center yourselves.